Everybody, welcome to Stack Your Points. Thanks for watching and listening. And this is the Friday Q&A segment. So your questions, we answer them, sometimes up to an hour, sometimes it creates its own episode in and of itself. So if you have questions, always feel free to drop them on the YouTube channel or email us at stackyourpoints@gmail.com. But we hope you enjoy this week's Q&A session. Thanks for watching and listening. Welcome to another episode of Stack Your Points. I'm Matt from the Matt Clausen YouTube channel, joined as always by RJ from Do You Take Cards. RJ, how are you today?
I'm very happy to be here, and I have Wednesday off, which means Tuesday night when I'm recording this podcast, I don't have to rush, which is very exciting.
You mean edit?
Yes, that's the word. See, this is why I need a day off, guys.
Exactly. We're also joined by Tariq from Reek's Rewards. How are you, Tariq?
I am good. I actually just burned some more Hyatt points, and I'm actually going to knock out Brand Explorer in a month. So my Hyatt card, I'm still down to like 23,000. So I'm surprisingly still have Hyatt points, RJ, but I think I have like another 15 I'm going to burn in like April. So those will probably be gone by the summer.
Just set fire to them. And we're joined by Lonnie from Call Me Lonnie. How are you today, sir?
I've been in dad mode all day. This is the first time I've had a moment to myself that didn't require catching up on work. And so that is my answer. It's not an excuse. It's not an explanation. That's my actual answer.
I get it. I do.
We appreciate you spending your only free time of the day with us. It means a lot to us.
Absolutely. So quick programming note. We are going to skip over Back to Basics this week. We're looking to kind of retool basics just because it wasn't feeling basic enough lately. So we're going to take a step back and try and retool it to kind of help some listeners who gave feedback offline that was a little not as basic as we were trying to be. So basics will make a return at some point. We're going to retool that, but we are going to jump instead over to our viewer questions, and we're going to start with our first question from friend of the show, Keith, who asks, as credit card and service fees become more common, at what point do you pay with another form of payment versus a credit card? A charge that codes as 3x with a 3% fee, 2x catch-all with a 3% fee, or just when you're working on a sub, or never? I will throw to Lonnie for this first question.
This is a very intricate question. It almost sounds like a trick question. In my case, even when I see that 3% fee, I know I can balance that out in a couple of other ways. So I might be losing out on a bit of the value on my points because, of course, the 3% fee that I'm also being charged, unless that 3% fee is also being, added into the entire total, like in some cases. So it's not like the 3% wouldn't get charged when it does get charged. Of course, I don't look at it. I just take the hit. No, I'm paying 3% extra. But the simple fact of, I know I use this a lot, but if I can get more value someplace else, like if I was on a 3x transaction, but I use Rakuten or a shopping portal or some, a stack of some kind that I had to go out of my way to get, I feel like, oh, I'm kind of still ahead. I'm just going to eat that 3% fees now because I'm going to be able to maximize it and, make up for it somewhere later, adjust for it somewhere later. In the case of would I just walk away? The answer is no. I pretty much never walk away unless it's like DMV debit card. Like I won't do a debit card because I'm not getting those points. I'd rather, if that's the case, I'd rather just write a check or leave and go to an ATM, grab cash and come back. But if I get to use my credit card, I'm going to eat that fee. So sub, of course, because subs are the easiest way to get points. They start off at like 15 points per dollar on the low end and can be as high as, I think the highest I've ever seen was like 26 points per dollar. I don't remember the card, but whatever. So never is out of the question. But Yeah, service fees are coming more common, but if you use your card as is, shouldn't be an issue. You can eat that fee. You can make it up later. But like I had mentioned, if it's actually you're actually going to get points for that charged fee. So if it's $20 plus another $2, well then you're going to get charged $22. You're going to get 3x on that $22 instead. Then 100% will do it. I'll eat that little bit of fee.
Makes complete sense. Tariq.
So I will say when it comes to the service fees, it's easier for me to justify when I'm opening up a card, when I'm opening up a card and working on a sub. For the most part, the only two things that I pay for on a regular basis, like monthly, that have a service fee would be rent, which I pay through Built, which means I'm automatically getting $250 regardless on top of whatever I earn. And then my electric bill is a flat $2.35 fee. So right now, like this was like the first month that I didn't use any credit card to pay my rent. I went and just did it straight from my checking account because I knew I was going to earn the bill points regardless. And same with my electric bill, just because I was just wanting to keep it simple for the most part. And just kind of doing an assessment. I know for me, like 3% fee on rent would be like $35 right now. So I don't necessarily want to pay any extra money if I don't have to, but it's for me, it's easier to justify when working on a sub. Maybe I'll just, if I'm strapped for points and I want to earn more points, I'll probably use whatever card, like right now, like my ISG Premier or maybe my Hyatt card, since I'm using burning my Hyatt points, and I figured, why not? Probably gonna essentially go back to using whatever card of choice for my electric bill, because I think it's easier for me to see the flat fee, knowing that if my electric bill is like $60 or $100 in the summer, however much it is, I think it's easier for me to justify it there. But for the most part, if I'm working on a sub, I'll put it on there just so I can hit the sub as quickly and easily as I can. Non-sub regular category, I'm doing some actual math and being like personal finance nerd accountant mode and be like, do I really want to pay the extra fee? I know I'm getting points, but I'm still spending more money. And I'm like, what part of the game am I like winning or losing? So those are just my two sides.
All right. RJ.
Nothing comes out of my checking account that is not a credit card bill. Like nothing comes out of my checking account that is not a credit card bill. So everything goes on a credit card that can feasibly go on a credit card. There are a couple of things that I pay out of my checking that I can't pay on a credit card. But other than that, and I have made the choice, so I know when they're coming out and I know that they're doing it. They're not anything recurring. They're things that I am putting in information, paying, and then that's it. But the only thing that comes out with any regularity of my checking account is my credit card bills, because I know the dates they're coming out, I know the amounts they're coming out, all of that. That is how my brain works the best. That is how my budgeting works the best. That is how life happens. Now, I am lucky where I am. The places that I go with any regularity do not have fees associated. They all have those like white boxes that you like swirl around and it's an iPad and you put in whatever it is and you go on with your life. So it's not anything with like a little sign that says 3% more for a credit card, or 3% off for paying with cash or whatever. So I don't really deal with that. And most of my shopping during the week is online, and that is almost exclusively feeless for using a credit card. So for me, it's not really an issue. If it became an issue where everywhere I went it was 3%, I would still probably use a credit card, because to me it is worth the peace of mind of the only thing that comes out of my checking are my credit card bills. Anything else is a one-off that doesn't super matter in the long term. So that's how I see it.
Yep, largely the same here. Restaurants around me are more likely to charge the 3% fee, but at the end of the day, my final posted amount is going to be the amount of the subtotal of the bill, then whatever I've paid as a tip that I've put on my card, plus whatever is charges tax, and then if they charge an extra service fee for using a credit card, at the end of the day, if that makes my bill, $85, I'm still getting 3 times points on $85. Like, that's just going to be the way it's going to be. I'll pay a little bit more for that convenience. The only way in which I'm going to stop is if, for whatever reason, the service fee is equal to my state sales tax. That's when I'll start thinking, ugh, because where I live, in New York, I believe it's 8.375% state sales tax. Oh, and then there's like county sales taxes as well that can get thrown into it as well. Depending on what you're buying, depending on where you are. If the service fee equals my
That
sales
sounds
tax,
a lot like Chicago.
yeah. If my service fee starts equaling the sales tax, so I'm getting taxed and then the service fee is the same as the tax, then I might have to consider another form of payment or starting the revolution. I don't know which, but one or the other. Otherwise, everything comes out of my check. Everything in my checking account goes to my credit card payment, or if I need to pay someone back with cash, I will pull some money out that way, or I will use Zelle, or I will use Apple Pay and link it to my checking account for specific payments, like to specific people. But service fees, restaurants, all of that, that's on the credit card. Like, I'm not going to think about it. If there's a service fee at a store, I'm going to put it on the credit card until the service fee equals the sales tax. I think I'm good, but don't talk to me if it's 6.75%.
Two things I took out of that. One, I'm probably the cheapskate out of the four of us. And two, y'all have county state taxes? Like county taxes in New York? What in the
Yes, we
world?
do. I'm
What?
literally looking at it. So where
What
I
in
am, it's around 7% for sales tax. Matt
what
is
what?
downstate, so he's closer to 8.18. It can go as high as 8.825 in New York.
Wait. So you have state taxes, sales tax, and then on top of the state sales tax, there's county tax?
So New York State is 4%. New York State itself is a 4% sales tax.
Okay.
Every county goes on top of that. So my total is 7%. So it's 3% goes to the county, 4% goes to the state.
Oh, here's our basics, by the way, guys. It's just county taxes.
Yeah,
That's
no.
actually easier than Chicago, because Chicago, you have Illinois state tax, and then you literally have a Chicago tax, and Chicago tax is anything. Chicago tax is extra on your cell phone bill, on your utilities. Like, where else am I going to get utilities if I'm living in Chicago? It has to be in Chicago. Yeah, you got to pay tax on that too. Like,
New York City is separate and special. I didn't go into them because they scare me. Like New York, trying to figure out taxes, like one of the questions on a New York State tax application is, do you work in the city? Did you make any money in the city? Pretty please promise us that you didn't make any money in the city, because we're going to tax you at an absurdly high New York State tax rate. Like, it's New York State is not joking when they talk about New York City, because that's how they make so very much of their money.
Yeah, Texas just has a state sales tax at 8.25%, and that just seems comfortable and safe and easy. I mean, you obviously, RJ, you pay less, but I ain't got to worry about hearing stuff like county tax, and because God help me if I had to pay state tax and then pay
It's
taxes
all on
to
your
Bear
bill is one
County.
thing. Like, I
Oh,
never think about sales tax, like, other than seeing it on my receipt. Like, it
see,
just
Yeah.
is.
y'all
But
scaring me because
if I go to another county, like, I'm very far upstate. If I were to travel an hour down, I'm paying a higher tax, but all it's going to do is just say sales tax and then the percentage of sales tax and then my total.
oh, okay,
Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't, like,
okay.
it's not scary. It's just New York State, you can change your tax by almost 2% if you travel like 2 hours from side to side in New York.
Look, people are getting W-2s now. It's pretty much tax season. So I know y'all got state taxes and everything. So, hearing that just scares and confuses me. Don't even get me started. I got a 1099 from Wells Fargo that I thought I did. I didn't realize I did in 2024. And I was like, oh, I did this in 24. God, that was such a long year. So, okay. you learn something new every day. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Just when the service fee equals the state tax, equals the sales tax, that's when I'm starting fires. Or something. We'll see. Anyway, so I think we've got that covered pretty easily. Unless the fee is ridiculous, we're just throwing it all on a card. We'll go to our next question from new questioner joromacsquibb, who asks, what do you do if you're at the airport and you learn that your flight has been delayed? Look into other options with the same different carrier, write it out. Are there any tools that help you make these decisions? I'll take first crack on this one. For me, it's going to be a question of how long is my delay? If my delay is under 3 hours, I am, depending on where I'm flying from, I could be looking for a lounge, as I have credit cards that give me access to a lounge. I got a delay. They're going to let me into the lounge. I'll be good to go from there. If I don't have a lounge available to me, I might have to suck it up and go to a restaurant, or I will suck it up and just wait if it's under 3 hours. More than 3 hours, I'm going to start looking into, trip delay and cancellation, trip delay coverages that I might be able to get. More than 6 or 8 hours, I'm going to be potentially looking at a different carrier, or looking at the same carrier in a different flight, or looking at what my cancellation possibilities can be. These are about to get a little bit trickier because the Department of Transportation is going to be a little bit less customer friendly soon. So we'll have to see what happens there. Are there tools that can help you make these decisions? Priority Pass app always helps, just to see what lounges are around. Your flight will be on an airline that likely has an application and likely has customer chat in that application. You can see what possibilities you have there. And you can always get on the phone with the issuer of whatever card you use to pay for your flight. With Chase, if you paid for your flight in full, whether through the travel portal and with Chase Ultimate Reward Points online, you're covered end to end. If you only paid, the taxes and fees, but you booked with points, you're only going to be due the taxes and fees from Chase. So just be careful of those things. Know your terms and have a rough idea of your terms and conditions. And, when talking to your customer service representatives, just make sure that you have in mind what you have a rough idea of what you can and can't be compensated for, if compensation is something that you have to put in play. But if your flight is delayed less than 2 hours, just eat it, man. Go grab a Cinnabon. I'll go to Lonnie for this for next.
Sure. So I'm going to be the first follow you on that first step there. Because as you probably can tell, this has happened to me quite often. Hey, it's a numbers game. The more you fly, the more you're going to get delayed. That's what I mean. But the first thing is, how long do I have to wait? Just as Matt said, if it's an hour or two or something not too, cumbersome, just eat it. Literally, if you can go to a lounge, go to a lounge. I'm a walker, especially if I have a carry-on bag, or if I'm just, check my bag and I got my backpack on. I'll just start getting some steps in, because you're probably sitting on a flight for a couple of hours. So the last thing I want to do is sit down for 2 hours of a delay and then get on a flight that's 4 hours long, or even longer than that. So I just start walking the terminal. Now that's the easy thing. Depending on what type of flight you're taking and where you're going. So especially if it's international, in most cases, if I'm flying to Europe, I have to connect. Because I live on the West Coast of the United States. But the one thing I would always recommend doing is actually go ask the gate agents how many people have that same connection. So if it's already a tight connection, let's call it an hour. And I know that's not super tight, but that's pretty tight for an international flight. And they say, like, you're not the only one. There's like it's a plane of 300 people, and 200 of those people are all, trying to get to the exact same place, and they all have to make that connection. Then once again, go back to number one and just wait. What they're going to end up doing almost 100% of the time, and I kid you not, that connecting flight, they're going to hold it back. They're going to delay it because they don't want to have to reroute 200 people. It's easier just to keep the next flight delayed another hour or two than try to reroute 200 or 250 people. So just go ask how many people. They won't give you the information of the people, but they will say, you're not the only one. 50% of this plane is trying to make that connection. Then just go sit down. Don't try to change your flight or nothing, because they're not going to try to reroute that many people. The other thing, look into other options. So the first one is, if I am on my way home and I'm connecting, I would look into other options on how I can get home. And the reason why I say if I'm connecting, so let's say I am flying domestic and I have to connect to O'Hare, calling East Coast to West Coast. So I got to connect to Chicago, O'Hare, or Denver, which are huge connection airports for United. If I don't have to have my checked bag, or even if I do, I'm going home anyway. Like, my bag can be late today. I don't care. I'm going home. I got more clothes in my closet. I'll be good. Ask what other flights, because those types of things, they'll usually have another flight available that you could be put on standby on, or they'll just shift you over. There's so many times where I've just said, if you don't have a bag, just walk down to gate B46. And I'm like, okay, cool. And just hop on another flight. Also, look at connections to surrounding airports. So, for example, if you're in LA, there's Burbank, there's Long Beach, there's different types of airports you can go to. For example, even in San Francisco, there's SFO, then there's Oakland Airport, there's San Jose Airport, and they're all within like less than an hour away from each other. So just be like, oh, can you take me to another airport? And I'll just Uber home from there. So look into those options as well. If you have surrounding airports, like RJ says, she lives at the regional airport, she probably has those types of options. And like I said, if you're not carrying on and you do have a check bag, then, you got clothes at home. They'll just ask them to deliver your bag tomorrow. If it's emergency landing, that's where you need to start looking into and understanding the options that you have via how you paid, like Matt said, with your credit card, and the transportation agency itself, or whoever you're flying with. So if you have credit card, depending how long it is, you can get reimbursements, you can get food, toothbrush, new underwear, socks, all that stuff. They'll cover it. Know how that stuff works on whatever credit card you're using. Every credit card is different. And the airline, after a certain amount of time, well, hopefully it sticks around, but they could owe you a refund. They could owe you a credit. The airline will always, after I think 3 hours, give you a food voucher of at least $20. I think that's like a set in stone rule, at least with United. Like, just go ask for a $20 voucher if you're delayed. Not on the tarmac, of course. If you're just literally delayed, they usually give you a free voucher. They usually also like wheel up this little cart with like Cheez-Its and Dasanis on it as well. They do. What can I say? And if it's overnight, especially if it's an emergency landing, ask for your hotel room. Say, just put me on the flight tomorrow that we're going to reschedule, but give me a hotel room. Usually that's also required, set in stone as well. And then last but not least for me, because I'm 1K with United, like I'll always just call it the United 1K line. I know that's like a very niche one-off scenario for me. A little brag if you want to. I know Tariq's already like smirking at me, but there's a
Stop
special
drilling,
one.
Lonnie. You already struck oil with United for me. I already decided to switch. You're like,
there's a special 1K number. All you got to do is call it. You go straight to a real person. They take care of you. So status matters, folks. Status matters. And this is why. That's the only reason why I'm bringing it up. Not to brag, but I'm letting you know, like, status matters. So that's all I got.
Well, thank you, Lonnie. RJ.
So this is going to matter for a couple of caveats that I'm going to call out. If I'm flying out of my regional airport, I have nothing. Like I got one bar at the airport. There's no lounge. There's like a McDonald's, a Chick-fil-A that just got put in. I want to say there's another coffee place coming soon. And then there's like a restaurant bar, but it's primarily a bar. I think they might have like appetizer type food. I usually fly early enough where that's not a factor. So if I'm flying out of the regional airport, then I'm just chilling because I have nothing around me. By the time I got to another airport, the delay is probably over. I flew on my birthday and I had like, I was supposed to leave at like 8, and I think I ended up leaving at like 2 in the afternoon. Thankfully, the delays happened before I got to the airport because I'm about an hour from the airport. So I knew I was being delayed because of weather that happened out Midwest. Um, one of the reasons I knew that is because I use Flighty. Now, this is not sponsored, not endorsed. I don't get anything from them, but it is a great app. They have a free version. You can do a week if you're just going on a trip. You can do a month, or you can do the year, or they have a lifetime one for like 250, I think. So if you fly a lot, it could be worth it. But you can track like the plane of the plane of the plane your plane is on. So you can track the legs. So you know, oh, it didn't take off from Ohio until 3 hours later, and I'm supposed to get on this plane in 2 hours, and they're still an hour and a half out. That may be a delay, right? You can start to see those stacks. Um, and I have saved myself some annoyance by following stuff like that. Now, I am almost always going to a layover, as I have said multiple times before. If I'm going to LaGuardia, I have a ton of options, right? Because it's a major airport. If I'm going to Atlanta or Detroit, I also have a ton of options. Now, my preference is to go to LaGuardia because they have the beautiful Delta Sky Club there, and I can just go hang out there and just relax. And I don't care if I'm there for 4 hours and I have a meal or two and like sit on my iPad and relax, I'm fine. Like, oh well. If I'm making my connection or not, like if it's a 4 hour delay, probably not making my connection. Okay, I'll figure it out. Like, it's fine. Um, no, if I'm coming back home, it gets trickier. Like if I'm delayed between New York City and home, there is nothing between New York City and home that is going to help me. My options are somehow getting to Amtrak and then somehow getting to Albany from Amtrak on the train, presumably. Hopefully it's not rush hour because like literally the price of an Amtrak in the downstate part of New York can change by multiple $100s during that nice little window where everybody is leaving the city. Um, and yeah, so if I'm in New York City and I'm eh, laid over, I'm just stuck in New York City for the night. Like I'm not getting out of the city to get where I live. So it sort of becomes this thing of where am I going? If I'm stuck in the city, at least there's gonna be a Hilton somewhere. There's gonna be like I have Marriott points, I got Hilton points, I got choice points. Like I'm at least good for, finding an accommodation of my choosing. And, with the rules, they would put me up. But if, they put me up at a place that I'd rather not be, then I have my own options, we'll say. Um, so yeah, it really if you're flying out of a regional airport, it is more likely you're going to have weirder delays than if you're flying like from LAX to, you know, JFK. Because you're probably A, not going to have a layover. You're probably B, on a much bigger plane that is much more often, fully whatever. But if you're flying regional, you get some weirdness. And you know what? You have to know that going in. I know my typical delays going in. I know if there's 3 legs before me is already slow that so I, take an extra half an hour to get down the Northway. And for the 4 people who listen to this podcast that know what the Northway is, congratulations.
There we go. Tariq, not to throw you in last, but Tariq.
No, it's fine. I mean, I don't really I have much flight experience as y'all, so I don't really deal with the delays. But from what I have dealt with, for the most part, if it's like, less than a couple hours, like 3 hours, yeah, I'm just gonna sit my butt at the gate, chilling until I get a card that gives me lounge access. I'll go see what restaurants they have. San Antonio Airport has some good access, depending on what terminal I go to. Terminal A, where I was flying a lot of Southwest. I got the Cinnabon. I got some good restaurants. There's a Whataburger there, although I have mixed feelings about Whataburger lately, but that's beside the point. So usually good there. On the way back, if I have a connection in IAH in Houston, and it is like a significantly long delay, not going to get home till like super late. The reason why I picked United was because out of the out of the two major hub airports in Texas, I'm closer to Houston than I am to Dallas. So if worse comes to worse, I will go book a one-way rental and drive 3 hours and change from Houston back to San Antonio if the delay in the flight is going to be that much longer. So that's pretty much it. For the most part, I'm just kind of just sitting my butt, just chilling because, when like Lonnie said, I'll probably go walk around, get some steps. I try to get 10K a day now. So it makes it easier to get those steps on travel days. But, there's not much that I'm going to try to do. It's a lot of times those delays are they're definitely out of my control, and they might be out of the airline's control. So, it is what it is. It's not going to kill me. It's just to kind of just chill and wait.
There you go. So yeah, couple different options. Again, the first question, first thing is always, how long is your delay going to be? Because, less than 3 hours, you just deal with it. But past that, you start looking at some other options. Also, Flighty is always a good option, especially if you live in a regional airport.
Flighty doesn't work on Android. Well, not the same way as what RJ had mentioned. It's a completely different experience on Android. So y'all iPhone folks use it, but I said Android folks that would like, there's not a lot of apps out there where I'm like, this would be great. That one would actually be great.
Is there an Android alternative or Android like this is the closest we can get?
Not that I'm aware of, but like Flighty, there is a Flighty app. Same company, same manufacturer, same, whoever you want, app developer that is. It's just not the same as what you get with all the perks, bells, and whistles that the iOS version gets. So maybe they're going to work on it, maybe not. I mean, I guess I could put it on an iPad, but I don't carry that with me all the time.
Flighty, fix it. All right. So thanks, joromacsquibb. We'll go to our next question, which just comes from Double Animal Fries, who asks, how have you used points, miles, and credit card perks to help family and friends? For example, I've recently covered a family member's multiple hotel stays in their effort in dealing with a health thing. Keith had also had several other great examples in another thread. Any suggestions for how people can use their points and perks to help others, big or small? RJ, I'll have you start off this question.
So my family has been dealing with some health stuff for my grandmother. So I have been the family travel agent lately, just because I am the most adept at doing all this. One, depending on who it is and depending on how much you trust them. If you have a card with lounge access and they do not, you can make them an authorized user. And in most cases, they will get the lounge access. So my family flies Delta. I have a Delta Reserve card. I made this one person in my family an authorized user on my card. I trust them with the spend if they were to ever put something on this card anyway, so it's not a problem that way. But now they can get into the Delta Lounge. So now, when they're flying through Atlanta primarily, so there's a ton of Sky Club lounges in Atlanta Airport. So they're going to have a place to go and get something to eat and, use a less public bathroom and, have all of that, right? So that's a little thing. And yes, there's a user fee for that, but ultimately they're going to get the worth out of it. And it's a little thing on my end that I can do to make their travel day a whole lot less friction. Because they're there at least an hour for the layover, I think 2 or 3 for certain flights they've had. So that's a nice chunk of time to have a place to go. Um, Hilton, I know specifically will let you put in another person's name for bookings so they can check in. And I have done that a couple of times of I've used my points to book people hotel rooms, put their name on so they can check in. And then if they get the Hilton app, you can actually share the digital key with them. The digital key will come to you as the person who is the owner, but you can share that key with them. That way they can get in and out. Without having any trouble that way. They can get a physical key when they check in, but if they want the app and all of the perks of that, they have that.
Yeah, definitely. I know I've definitely done the use my Hilton points to book a Hilton room, not for me, relatively painless. Tariq.
So I haven't had any true opportunities to kind of use like my points to help out family. The closest I got was on my way home from my brother's graduation. My mom and my brother were staying at a different hotel because my dad and I were leaving separately, and we were just decided to try to find a hotel from that was like closer to the airport that we were flying out of, because we were flying out of Raleigh, but my brother's college that he graduated from was like an hour and a half away from the hotel. So I proposed, because I was just happened to open up the Hyatt app, and I was like, "Hey, Dad, I have points. So you don't have to pay for a hotel. We can just stay at a Hyatt that's like close to the airport." And that was like the best thing I was going to. He ended up, declining, and he ended up booking at a Sheraton because he likes Marriott properties. And that's actually how I found out my dad has a lifetime sober, was just from that. So I will definitely take any opportunities that I can to help out family, loved ones with travel. It's just haven't really had any opportunities to. But if the opportunity arises, I know what my options are, and I'll go from there.
Got it. All right. Lonnie, any of these experiences?
Not too many. So nowadays, especially for my family, when I say my family, my direct family, as in my wife and my son, no, because either they're always traveling with me. So they get my perks and benefits. And my wife and I, we both have our own credit cards, which have different things on them to help us out. Like she just got the United Club Infinite card. So now all three of us, our entire family, can get in the United Club together versus me and my own Explorer card, which only gave me 2 passes. She used to have that card. She got the new one and then downgraded her product, changed her Explorer card, her blue one, to the Gateway for $0 to keep her credit history that on that particular account. That is. I have. Sorry, Tariq. I have used my 1K status for my parents before on a flight that they were taking that I was not part of, not on the itinerary, not even flying with them. I just didn't like the itinerary they were taking. It was like so far out of the way, where like they had to like connect to Atlanta to get to Illinois. And I'm like, no. So I just called and was like, can you do me a solid and like take care of my parents? And I'm like, oh yeah, we'll just do Chicago. And then they can connect to the regional airport. And I'm like, perfect. They didn't charge me anything for that, but they only did it because of my status. So that's the only time I ever did it for someone else. Every other time it's usually because I will book for a friend. Like I travel with my best friend from grad school. You've heard me bring this up before. But like if I book for him, so he's on my itinerary, like I'll do that. Like we did that for his bachelor party, where I just booked for everyone. So everyone can get free check bagged. Everyone got like economy plus seats. When we travel internationally, I do travel with that friend a lot internationally as well. I know what cards he has, so I try to like do things together. For example, he has a CSR, his wife has a CSR. Like, all right, everybody has priority pass. So we might not be able to do a United Club, but we all can do priority pass. So it's like, which airport do we want to connect through? And can we all go there together type of scenario? But other than that, and it's funny because that same friend is the friend I'm about to have a family vacation with in May. He and I just had a conversation the other night where it's like, when we're booking these hotels, he wants to book this Hilton hotel that we're going to stay at with his Chase points because that's his currency that will cover that. And I'm like, well, I'm using my Hilton Aspire card and now I'm going to get my upgrade and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I got my diamond status. And he's like, man, I'm like, dude, straight up, you're my best friend and you're sub to my channel. There's no excuse that you don't have this information. You've known me for like 20 something years. At this point, whatever you don't have is on you. Whatever you don't have is on you. Like you could have called me at any time. We could have ironed this out and hooked you up. And so, yeah, I'm the type of person I will divide and conquer. If I fly with friends or family and they don't have pre-check, screw it. I'll see you on the other side. When we fly back in the country, you don't have global entry, I'll grab your bag for you, but I am not waiting in that line with you. So I know it sounds cold, but that's just how I am.
I think one of the best things you can do if you have a loved one that you want to travel with and you have a card with TSA PreCheck and you have used another card with TSA PreCheck for yourself is to pay for their TSA PreCheck. So this is mostly a thing for you. You don't have to deal with waiting for them. Like you can go through together. But
Yeah.
that is an act of love, is to give a TSA PreCheck to somebody.
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, my wife has her own cards that cover global entry TSA PreCheck, but because I have more cards than she does, I covered my son. So he's covered because I have more than one card and I'm not using all those credits, of course. Like, how many priority passes do I need? How many global entry credits can I actually use, right? But especially as what you were saying there, RJ, I remember last year, as I mentioned, I went to Hawaii with my mother-in-law, her mom, and I'm like, we all got pre-check. You need to get pre-check or else we're just going to be like doing things separate. And so, yes, I used one of my other cards, had her on the other side of the country, like, wait, when they ask for payment, just call me, use my card. But yeah, share that wealth. So that's another way. Use those benefits if, even if you got to sell it, what is it, $100? Sell it to somebody for $80. What you just made $20. It's not illegal, so it's okay for me to say that.
It's $1.20 now.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Just real-time fact check. Yeah, that's true.
The last time I used it or needed to pay for it was $100. Okay, Matt.
Also, I mean, if you sell the credit on a TSA PreCheck, you're getting what you just sold for it because you're getting that reimbursed anyway. So if you sold it for like $80, congratulations, you made $80.
I will admit I have never actually sold it, but if I don't know you personally, I'll probably sell it to you. Not gonna lie, but like my best friend, mother-in-law, I'm not gonna charge them. It's just sitting on a card. It's a credit that's not going to be used, so just give it away. But if I don't know you, like Tariq's older brother hits me up in the DMs, no, he's paying.
If I have an older brother that hits you up asking for a TSA PreCheck credit, it's a scam because I don't have an older brother.
There we go. Yeah, no, that all makes sense. I just had to pay for global entry twice, but one of them was free, so that was cool. And luckily kids don't have to pay anymore. So that's nice. So for me, I've used miles for all intents and purposes, my mother-in-law. Just going to say that it's just easier to put up in a slightly better hotel that had an indoor swimming pool to make sure that like my youngling and her cousins could have access to a pool for a stay. I've done it before. I'll do it again. I didn't like putting up the amount of points that I had to put up for that stay, but there aren't a lot of Hiltons in rural central Ohio. So what you get is what you get. Um, yeah, I had no problem doing it. I'll do it again. I'll just make sure that I re-earn the points as quickly as possible. But it is Hilton. You can always just buy the points at half a cent per point. Otherwise, I haven't done any big gestures. There used to be ways that you could like donate points or um, purchase points for the purposes of donations. That I haven't done. Was an organization that just shut down that was Miles for Migrants. They were a vehicle for which you could donate unused points, which was cool, but they are not able to do that because while the points were nice, they were not able to keep up with the taxes. So is what it is. But overall, there are multiple ways for you to utilize points, and you can help friends and family, those who you implicitly trust, to utilize your points, miles, or credit card perks that, if you're not using for yourself for whatever reason, you're able to at least get that covered in another way for them. So move over to our last question, which comes from AP, who asks, what is your favorite movie to watch on an airplane? RJ, do you bother watching movies nowadays?
I love movies. I don't love movies on an airplane. Because when I watch a movie, I want to be as comfortable as possible. I want nobody around while I'm watching said movie. And I want like I have my TV is on a stand that is movable, so I can literally wheel it so I am in bed comfortably and cozy and like watching it at an angle. That is not possible on an airplane. They do not let me bring my bed and my TV on the airplane. I fly on out of a regional airport, so I don't think it would fit anyway. Because I have a whole big TV. So for me, watching a movie on an airplane is not something that I tend to do. I am a podcast on a airplane person because I like a lot of very long podcasts. I like tech podcasts primarily. So like I can do an episode of ATP between here and Atlanta. Most of the time, sometimes they do episodes that is longer than the flight between certain places in New York and Atlanta. So it really depends on the episode for them, but a lot of the episodes, for different shows I can do in that flight. So I like podcasts because that way it feels like the time is going faster, and sometimes I just don't have the attention span to watch or to listen to, an hour and a half, 2 hour, 2.5 hour podcasts in my life because I'm, working or doing whatever. So it's a nice time where I just have that podcast and the window to look out of.
So what you're saying is that sitting very first seat on the side with one seat on the CRJ with an iPad and your AirPods Max is not conducive to watching a movie?
I do not sit in the first row because there is nothing in front of me, like seat wise, to put my backpack on. And I fly with a carry on and a backpack. So I will, if at all possible, I do not pick the first row. I pick the second row. I believe the second row is infinitely superior than the first row.
Once again, the CRJ is a reminder that Canada hates us. Um, Tariq, do you have a particularly favorite movie to watch on a plane, or do you watch movies on a plane? What is your in-flight entertainment situation like?
So it depends. Every now and again, I'll watch a movie. Usually, I'm like scrolling through like the in-flight movie options, and I'm just like, "Oh, this is a movie I haven't seen. I've always wanted to see." I think the last movie I did that with was Kill Bill a couple of years ago. I was like, I've never seen it. I always wanted to see it. It's here. I'll watch it. Aside from that, usually like music, or I have YouTube Premium and I will download videos, usually long form videos, some like old live replays that I wanted to watch, or I watch like finance videos, Caleb Hammer's financial audit, Romaine Farr's finance action, or, the wonderful Stack Your Points podcast that we do every week. You know, those are usually what I listen to now on travel days. So usually, like, if I can download it to my iPad and just watch it, and I usually have my AirPods Max that I just usually only use for travel because I got them as a gift and I don't want to mess them up. So a lot of times it's anything like 90 minutes or longer on YouTube. That is the one thing I will stand on. If you watch YouTube and you travel, pay the $15 a month for YouTube Premium, it is worth every penny that you pay for it just for downloading videos. If nothing else, downloading videos and ad-free. Like, best parts of YouTube Premium. Like I said, not sponsored. It's just a fact of the matter. It's just that great.
All right, there you go. And I like the sucking up to the rest of your co-hosts answer of I listen to the podcast on travel days now. Lonnie, you're the king of flying both for yourself and for your family. When you're away from family, do you have a particular favorite movie, or do you have a favorite in-flight entertainment?
Oh, I don't care if my son's sitting next to me or not. There are some movies that I'll watch no matter what. 'Cause I know he's not going to look at my screen anyway. But very much like Tariq is usually so on United. United has a deal with Marvel Entertainment where you can basically get some of these movies while sometimes they're still in theaters, but definitely before they open up to streaming, like on Disney Plus. So most recently it was like Deadpool and Wolverine was like their big statement one. But like whenever the big Marvel movie comes out, Avengers, anything like that, you can watch it pretty early before it's like open to streaming. They also do that with Disney. Well, obviously Marvel's under Disney and all that stuff now. So for example, like the next flight I take, I'm actually kind of looking forward to watching the Mufasa movie, the new Lion King movie. I haven't seen it yet. I don't really go to theaters that much anymore because I don't
Why?
have time. You can't take, I don't want to take a toddler that doesn't know how to like not kick and be quiet and like not sing along in a theater. So whatever.
No.
I'm just gonna say I'm the odd one out because I literally went to a movie this past weekend.
You're in a relationship, you only have a girlfriend, you don't have a family, it's okay. You're good spending your $20.
Yeah, you're fine. And I hope it was an AMC or a Cinemark and you use MPX when you got there.
Of course I use Cinemark for MPX. Come on, Lonnie. Plus I had a free movie credit too. So yeah, that plus popcorn, because Cinemark has a $20 minimum.
Reclining chairs.
You can say Tariq and I have a problem with MPX, but that's fine. We also have a boarding pass. So anyway. But what I do with the United's in-flight entertainment, which is actually really seamless, is like I said, I go to new releases and I start favoriting, that is, the favorite heart, all the stuff that I would want to see on that flight. So that way, when one thing ends, I can instantly go to like this small collection instead of having to go through the entire collection that they have and try to find the next movie. Now, to answer the question, there's two aspects. There's one movie that I pretty much is my go-to and I'll watch it whenever I want. It's my favorite movie in the world. Probably the one movie since we've all been on this planet, I would say has at least in the top 3 of best intros ever. And I'm going to come back to that in a minute. I'm just going to leave you on the cliffhanger because if I want to fall asleep, the Harry Potters are always on United. All 7 of them when you split the last 2, I think. Yes. 8. Yeah. So
it's
8
7
with the
books
last 2.
Yeah.
But 3, 4, and 5 are my 3 favorite Harry Potter movies. If I want to fall asleep, those would instantly do it when I'm in the air. But Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, Christian Bale with Heath Ledger as the Joker, Batman movie.
Greatest Batman movie of all time.
Greatest movie of all time. It's up there as one of the greatest movies of all time. It was so well done.
Rest in peace, Heath Ledger. Greatest Joker ever.
But by far, one of the best movie intros, period, ever. No debate. Don't put it in the comments. I don't care what you have to say unless you agree with me. Like, there is no conversation here. I will watch that movie on my phone. I will watch it at home. I will watch it in the air. If I see it playing on on a street corner, I will probably stop and watch it. That's how good I love that movie. It's probably one of my favorite movies of all time, right behind or right in front of Jurassic Park, the first one from the 90s. Once again, a movie older than Tariq. I'm 2 for 2 this week. 2 weeks in a row, Tariq. But you usually don't find that one. But that would be one I would not watch with my son next to me. I don't want him seeing humans getting eaten by dinosaurs. Even though he loves dinosaurs. I can't wait until I can watch Jurassic Park with him. It's going to be a couple more years.
Because right now the dinosaurs are fun. And the T-Rex and the Allosaurus always get along. Anyway. Yeah, no love for Mark Hamill's Joker turn in the animated series.
I am not into the animated series. Well, the old 90s cartoon one, sure.
But
I'm so far, that's like Darkwing Duck, dude. I'm so far beyond that. Like, I can't even sing the show tune anymore, the intro song. Like, but Mark Hamill's always, not because he's Luke Skywalker. Mark Hamill is an amazing voice actor, and so many people don't realize how much stuff he's actually done.
Yeah, in the 90s Batman, he's the Joker.
I know.
Yeah. I'm just making sure others know. Anyway.
Same as Kari Payton. Kari Payton's a great voice actor in the DC universe as well.
I'd have to hear their voice to know. Anyway, yeah, sorry. Moving over to my favorite movie, I am now in a position where I don't really have the luxury to watch the movie on the flight. I have to make sure that my little one is good. Although they took to flying really well on their first flight, and so I was really relieved about that. I'm hoping that the next time is just the same as the first time. But I'm a weirdo. I don't pull up the in-flight entertainment. I'm just like, I'll look at where the plane is in relation to where we're going. And if not that, I'll probably have just a podcast or two loaded up on my phone or an audiobook. I don't have anything recent. I think the last thing I listened to on a plane was like Flash Crash from Michael Lewis. But otherwise it'll be an audio, it'll be a podcast, either something from like the This Week in Tech folks or ATP or some sort of baseball related podcast as well. Depending on the flight, but I also do like a whole bunch of like smaller, shorter regional flights. So you don't get to do a whole ATP episode that way.
Here's a question for all of you. And Lonnie, this probably doesn't apply to you with the 1K status, but I'm going to ask you all anyway. Do you pay for Wi-Fi if it is not a free? Delta's getting better with free Wi-Fi, but they do occasionally have flights where you have to pay for it. If it's over 3 hours, do you pay for Wi-Fi?
And it's not a perk of the card that I carry. Yeah, I'd pay for Wi-Fi, but Wi-Fi's covered with JetBlue.
For me, it depends on if it's a business or a personal trip. If it's a business trip, I'll buy it and potentially say I'm working. I'm probably not. But if it's a personal trip, there's no need for me to get Wi-Fi.
Nah.
Even with the double discount with the United Mileage Plus Explorer card.
Yeah, nah. I think it's like what, 25% off. But I mean, until the United does the
plus 25% off. You get $2 off for just having a United Mileage Plus account. Then you'll get 25% off.
Oh, great. Now I'm sad that I got denied again. Thanks, Lonnie.
Your own fault.
Shut up, Matt. Anyway, no, I don't pay for
I'm just
Wi-Fi.
here to educate
Lonnie.
the people. I'm here to educate the people. I was talking to them. I wasn't talking to Tree.
All right, can I answer my question, or can I answer the question?
Yeah.
We're just gonna thank you. No, I don't pay for Wi-Fi because unless I don't feel the need. I literally said I download videos so I could watch them throughout the flight, and I also do like early morning flights when I can. So worst case scenario, I'll just fall asleep and sleep through the flight. So
I,
no,
I
unless
buy
you.
Wi-Fi. I buy Wi-Fi because I have to tell people to get out of different channels on the server for Stack Your Points Discord because sometimes people got to talk about random things in the wrong channel. Also, I do that, and I'm sorry, guys. It's my
Well,
For
apology.
me,
we
the
don't
only
do
reason
it.
why I don't do Wi-Fi, unless I'm like traveling with my tablet, but it's the only time I actually turn my phone off. I'm one of those people that fully power my phone off because I mean, think about it. When's the last time you actually fully powered it off? Most people don't,
Mm.
or at least they go very long stretches. And so it's my reminder to just, you know what, turn my phone off and disconnect and just sit back and watch a movie.
And we're a long way from the days of the communal movie watching experience when you had no control over what the movie was, and it was just this is what it is, and everybody suffered
Oh,
together.
the channels.
Have you guys ever had like a sporting, like I was on a plane for, I want to say it was the Stanley Cup Finals in like 2012, 2013, something like that. And like everybody, like it just happened to be a flight going to Boston. And it was a year Boston was in it. So everybody was watching. And that is a really cool experience of something where everybody is watching the same thing. Cause you make fast friends, like it's like going to a sporting event. You make fast friends really fast. It's very fun. If you ever
That
have the opportunity, try that.
that sounds awesome. That sounds like a core memory experience. Like like when the plane lands and everyone's cheering, and it's not because the pilot landed the plane this time.
Uh,
I Back when Google had Stadia before they deprecated it, I actually streamed AAA video games and played video games on airplane Wi-Fi.
nice. Nice. Real time follow up just from the top of my head. That flight was either 2019 or 2011 because those are the last two times that
2011.
Boston. Yep.
2011.
That was the Boston Vancouver series in which Vancouver is still on fire in so many ways. All right. Well, thanks, AP, for that. Thanks, everyone, for asking your questions. As always, if you want to ask a question, feel free to utilize the Stack Your Points Discord, the podcast questions section on there. Link to the Discord is always in our videos. You can send us an email at stackyourpoints@gmail.com. Jared, if you haven't seen it by now, I did get a chance to respond to your email directly. Thank you so much for sending the email. My apologies on the length of time that we took on that one. If you want to utilize the Q&A videos on Fridays, please do that just to keep RJ and myself sane. But any number of ways to ask questions we'll answer at some point. So thank you so much for that. With that, this has been another episode of the Stack Points podcast. You can catch us on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. This week, Wednesday and Friday. Full show is available on the podcatcher of your choice on Saturdays. Give us a 5-star rating on the podcatcher of your choice to help us grow the show on in audio form. If you like what we do here on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe. You can join the Discord. The link is in the description. RJ, if folks want to find you around the internet, where's the best place for that?
If you go to YouTube, you can find me at Do You Take Cards for things that I have done on a small hiatus at the moment. Otherwise, you can find me in the Stack Your Points Discord every day saying things. Some of them are even good.
There we go. They are mostly good. Not some. Tariq, best place to find you on the internet.
Right now, Stack Your Points Discord. I actually have not been active in there lately. Work has just been kicking my butt. But we'll get more active. And then same with my video with Reeks Rewards. Probably gonna get that out here soon. I know I say that a lot, but I actually did recording. So, we'll work on the next take.
Let's put it out there, man. Lonnie, best place to find you.
I'm not for sure because I'm leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'll be back again. But
Nice.
until then, hey, I haven't done one of those in a while, so I thought about bringing it back. Anyway, You can find me right on YouTube at Call Me Lonnie, all one word, and Lonnie is spelled Lani. And if I'm not there, I'll be in the Stack Your Points Discord as well.
Fantastic. As always, we will see you guys next week. We appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.